God, I'm tired. Tired in my body, tired in my mind, and I'm tired in my heart. You know, I don't know if you've noticed, but this little family we've got going on here isn't doing so good. If we don't talk to each other, I don't think we're going to make it. Now that comes from a scene in the movie The Sixth Sense. It's essentially about a boy who's completely exasperated. He's coming home from school. He's physically bruised. He's basically terrified because he's finding it difficult to process something that's happening to him. And what makes it even worse is that the thing that he's so afraid of actually invades or starts to invade his own home and his own private space, which is his bedroom. He's built his own little fortress in there, and his sort of ultimate fear is right in front of him in the dead of night when he's trying to play with his toys and get his mind off this strange thing that he doesn't understand. And that's the closest thing that I can think of to the way that I've been feeling in the last few weeks. I've gone through bouts of depression before and anxiety over the years. I'm 51 now, so I've had plenty of times where I've felt that I'm slipping, and the winter's coming out. We're coming out of winter now, and we're into spring. Technically into spring. It's almost the 1st of April. The clocks actually went today, so we're going to have more sunlight, which makes a massive difference, doesn't it? It started with a headache about 3 or 4 weeks ago, and it was more than a headache. It was a migraine. It was what I felt was a full-on migraine, but it didn't have any pain associated with it. It was a type of migraine where you get all of the symptoms of the migraine minus the headache, which makes it even more confusing because you don't know which way is up, and you sort of start to wonder what's going on. So I was getting the sickness, the feeling sick, the aversion to sunlight. I was getting quickly irritable and irritated. And this was going on for a long time, and I was taking paracetamol, and I thought it would pass. Now, it didn't. It got progressively worse. And that's when I started to realise that the headache, the migraine, was actually a byproduct of what I was going through. And I didn't know what it was. And to be perfectly honest with you, I started to get quite worried about it. I can normally take it or leave it. If I'll go through maybe at most I'll go through 4 or 5 days of feeling that way, and then eventually it'll right itself. Maybe I'll get a couple of nights of better night's sleep, and that'll right everything. But this didn't happen this time. So as I was going through this, trying to go about my day-to-day life, I ended up looking after a friend's house for a few days in the village. So I left the caravan and packed up. I moved down there, and I'd also arranged to look after a neighbour's dog for 3 nights at the house, which I said, no problem, I can do that. Now, I'm going to sound like a broken record here. At least I sound like it to me, because he's constantly on my mind. But I lost my dog just over a year ago. His name was Bo, and I had him for 12 years, and he was absolutely everything to me. So I went down to the house, stayed there for a couple of nights, and the gentleman came round and dropped his dog off. A little terrier. I was kind of indifferent to him. He slept on my bed, which was quite nice. And over that period of time, on the 3 days and nights that I had him, it was on the third day, going into the third evening, where he started to trust me and I started to trust him a little bit more. And we formed a little bit of a bond, a little bit of a relationship. And it was lovely. And so the gentleman came to pick him up, and I went about my day, got the house tidy, and then I came back here to the caravan. My subconscious mind put all of that into little compartments in my head, stored them there. The front part of me, the doing person, got on with everything and just did everything as normal. But my subconscious was starting to tap at the general day-to-day doing of me. And whenever I mention Bo, and I don't know why I feel this, but I feel like when I mention him, in my own brain, I go, oh, here we go again. He's talking about his dog. Or I get this feeling that everyone's like, oh, here we go. He's talking about his dog. But I can't help it. I had my dog for 12 years, and he was my everything. He was my rock. Now, I didn't know this at the time while I had him, really. I got sort of inklings of it as to how much he was linked with me and I was linked with him. And the way that we communicated without words with each other, and the way that our emotions fed and dovetailed into each other, and how he responded to me, and how he knew when I was going to have a bad day before I did. That's how crazy this thing was. I'd wake up and start going about my day, and I'd see him here in the living area, and he'd be looking at me with his head down because he knew that I was going to have a bad day. And I would start going about my day wondering why he was, looking at me like that. And right enough, I wasn't in a good frame of mind that day. And it was only afterwards, even after he'd gone, that I realised that he knew. He knew when I was not myself. And that, to me, is baffling. Anyway, that's just a little tiny smidgen as to what he meant to me. And when he went, it obviously destroyed me. As time has gone on, I've had this itch that I just can't scratch, and it's trying to convey a feeling of what I felt when I had him in my life. And I tried to do it in lots of different ways because of how special it felt to me. I'm sure, please write down in the comments if you've had any sort of similarities to what I'm saying here, and I'll read them and I'll respond to them, because I'm genuinely curious as to this phenomena. So even though it's been a year and I took on this task of looking after another dog, And I didn't give it a second thought once I'd given him back to the gentleman. A part of my brain that I had no control over didn't like that, and it manifested itself into a culmination of where I was wandering around and doing normal activities, but I wasn't making the decision to do them. Something else was doing it, and it culminated in getting a backpack together and my camera stuff, and I went to a place that I always go, to a standing stone. It's at the standing stone where I can feel my father's presence the most. I can't describe it. I don't even pretend to understand it, but when I go up there and visit this stone, I can feel him and sense him all around. And my father passed over 3 years ago now, almost 3 years ago. It'll be 3 years in October. And I went up there and I found somewhere to sit. I told him that I missed him, and I explained to him that I missed Bo and that I felt lost and alone and tired and that I didn't know what to do. And I came home, packed up, and went about the rest of the day. And when I woke up the next day, I felt better. And what's insane to me is that it's almost like I didn't have any say in that whole activity of that day. My subconscious mind made me pack a bag and wander off, walking for an hour to that place. And I could sense my dad everywhere up there. I could sense Bo up there. I can't describe it. He's there's when I look up into the sky, and especially if the sun's going down there, I they're there. They're everywhere around that area. And it I don't like saying this, but it's true. You know, Bo's passing has hurt me more than my father passing. And I was sitting there crying to my dad that I missed my dog. And that, I can't get my head around that. And I've tried to, there's something in me that I just can't, I need to express it. I can't put my finger on it. I did a very sort of short video about him when he passed in the January there, and I made a short video and put some clips of him in there and edited it and whatnot. And I thought that would be the end of it. I thought, well, that'll be some sort of closure, I guess. And it didn't do it. I still have that feeling in me. I'm writing a book about him, about our last, about our 12 years that we had together, because we went through a lot, the pair of us, and there's immense power in that, and I don't know where that power is coming from. I know that when he died, obviously in the week, the weeks after he passed, I was just I didn't really know what was going on. I didn't know what I was feeling. There was exasperation, and I'd go down to where I'd buried him, and sit and just sort of stare off into space and not really understand what was going on. But one day I went down, and this sounds insane, but it's absolutely true. I went down one day and I touched his stone, and I said, "Let's go for a walk." And when I did that, I felt him with me the whole time I was out. But it wasn't just a dog. It was everything. I felt him in the trees. He was everywhere around me. Everywhere I looked, I could feel him. And I can't shift that. That means something. It means it's important. It's immensely powerful, and I don't think I think I'm close to grasping what it is, because he keeps leaving me little hints. There are little strange things that are happening where I'll sense him. So what I'm trying to say is that when you hear of somebody that's had a pet that's passed, a dog especially, I guess, really sort of think about how the owner is going to feel, because in some situations it actually hurts more than losing a family member. And I can't, I'm not afraid to say this, but I feel immensely guilty for feeling like that. I had a great relationship with my dad. He was a good man. So I don't understand why I have this strong feeling towards this dog that it just loved me unconditionally. He was everything, you know. And once you get through the initial pain and the shock, something else takes over. And for me, it it's it's as if something's telling me that I have to be creative with something. I have to. There has to be an outlet. It's funneling me into doing something creative. I think. I think that's what's happening. But I just wanted to put this out to you people who have lost an animal, and that I feel you, man. I feel you. I've seen videos pop up on YouTube recently of channels that I follow where they've lost a pet and lost a dog, and it's absolutely devastating. My mum lost her pet. She lost her dog 2 days ago, and he was 15 years old. I can't imagine what she's going through and what she'll have to process in the next weeks and months going forward. The power of an animal can't be underestimated, really. You know, for anybody that's lost, I feel for you, man. I really do. It gets better. But there are times when your subconscious will absorb what you think is a normal activity, like someone looking after someone else's dog, and you know your brain's saying, "I'm not done with that. You've got to, you've got some more things to do here to understand." Anyway, I'll catch you on the next one.